We control your bodies. Hey, bitch, we control your bodies. Guess what? Guys win again, okay? Men win again. Your body, my choice.
Tony said, Balessa, girl, let me get on in the gig. And guess what, Tony and audience? They're doing a giveaway. Literally free toys and gift cards to toys. All you gotta do is click the link in my description. And if you want a glimpse of some of those toys, because I've been trying them out for months now. Whew, let me tell ya. You want to tell them about Balessa, Tony? Balessa is a by women company, not by women, but a company by women. Although that too, for all things sexual wellness. Balessa's mission is about empowering everyone to embrace, explore, and celebrate their sensuality. Isn't that beautiful, Tony Baloney? We got the Demi Wand. It's compact, discreet, it's come with this cute little charging case. It's also waterproof, USB chargeable, and no weird pattern modes, because you know. Works for all body types, which means orgasms for all. Then we've got the Air Vibe. This one's about dual stimulation, internally and externally, if you know what I'm saying. It comes in this cute, discreet case as well. It's waterproof, rechargeable, and silent, but deadly. And then you have my new favorite, because I had some favorites before, but this girl right here, this one right here, she is, if you use nothing else, use this one. Oh, Jesus. Amen. Ain't that right? The Pebble is suction and vibration controlled independently. It's ergonomically built to fit perfectly your hand, and it do when you're in compromising positions. Oh my God. And it also doesn't have any annoying pattern modes. So I know wintertime is lonely and cold and tiring, but if you're somebody that likes an orgasm or two, wants to explore your sensuality, your sexuality, and have some fun with some toys, check out the link in my description. And thank you so much to Balessa for sponsoring this portion of today's video. And thanks to y'all for supporting a brand that supports this channel. All right, let's get back into it. So there's this woman. Her name was Jenny Thiessen, and she was getting a divorce from her husband. And during these divorce proceedings, she found out that her husband had been plying her with his sleeping medication, and then while she was unconscious, raping her. Yes, spousal rape is illegal, but not if you're married or cohabitating. So he was charged with a felony, but the charges were dropped that same day because due to a legal loophole at the time in Minnesota's law, raping your intoxicated spouse was not illegal if you were married or cohabitating at the time of the offense. Let me explain that for those of you that might be like, I'm sorry, what? Based on a law at the time in Minnesota, if you were cohabitating, living with someone and/or married to this person, and you were unconscious, and they had their sexual way with you, yeah, it's fine. That's fucking allowed. Now we're going to talk a bit more about marital rape and the legal loopholes and things that are still allowed in present day, because it's shocking. Because, oh, I forgot to mention, that case was from 2017. Now, thankfully to Thiessen and legislators in Minnesota's hard work, in 2019, Governor Tim Walz signed a bill repealing the legal loophole in that state. But that's one state. And this article is from 2021, but at the time of this article, states like Ohio, Michigan, and Maryland had all just had rejections to their wanting to repeal this legal loophole. And surprise, surprise, guess who's been pushing back a lot against repealing this legal loophole? Republican lawmakers. Now, why do I bring all this up? Why are we talking about marital rape? Well, because, you know, that video I showed you at the beginning and all these other crusty, dusty, musty people walking around thinking it's cute to, even if they're trying to be funny, say something like your body, my choice, when we're still living in a time period where women's bodies are still seen as property of others, to the point where certain states still allow legal loopholes for marital rape, to the point where marital rape was legal in every 50 nifty state up until the 70s. And it wasn't outlawed in all the 50 nifty states until 1993. I was 1 year old when marital rape was officially outlawed across the United States. And I wasn't born yet when it was outlawed in Canada, but It was only 10 years earlier in 1983. That's when Canada was like, right. Just because you're married doesn't imply consent. Sometimes your wife's not going to want to have smexy time. Duh. Right. This is hell. This is hell. I am sorry to tell you. Okay.
What message would you have to women who are considering having an abortion?
When a woman becomes pregnant, there's two bodies there. It's not one. And it's not my body, my choice. It's care for the child. There's adoption. There's other routes to go.
And what do you say to people out there that say that they don't want to get the COVID vaccine?
If the my body, my choice works for abortion, why doesn't the same work for the vaccine? If it's my body, it should be my choice of whether or not I want to vaccinate.
Because people go around saying it's shit and acting like it's cute, whether it's a joke or not, to further participate in not just dehumanizing women or not seeing them as a marginalized group or protected class of people or whatever, but going so far as to lean into blatantly, boldly, audaciously the idea that women are going to be property again. So yeah, that Fuentes motherfucker, he decided that he was going to say that whole your body, my choice thing. And according to CNN, the video has been viewed more than 90 million times, reposted 35,000 times, whether that's people doing it for appreciation or to condemn what he's saying. And between Thursday and Friday, the ISD recorded a 4,600% increase in mentions of the phrase on X. And a number of women on TikTok posted videos saying their comments had been filled with users posting the phrase. Not surprising, especially because people got Twitter fingers and they love to just tip, tap. That's not an invitation. Don't. I've gotten harassing emails and stuff too. Like anytime you try to post anything slightly, hey, women are human beings and gender is a construct and you can still be a man and people can be women and whatever, but all of this other social shit that we're doing to try and reify this hierarchy, yeah, let's stop doing that. Let's slowly dismantle it so we can have better relationships. Yeah, I say something like that and people will call me a misandrist, comment all types of nonsense, and send me weird, creepy photos. This whole phrase, which is a subversion of the whole my body, my choice, which is about reproductive justice, which also makes it that extra bit more disrespectful. Something this feeds into a lot of this and a lot of these discussions feed into the infantilization that we have of women. You might be like, it was just a joke. He was just joking. Yes, but a lot of people still, even if he's joking, a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are super happy Roe v. Wade was overturned because a lot of people don't think it's your choice. They think it's a man's choice. The big man upstairs, God. Even if you don't believe that, you have to. And they know what's best for you because they know God. They know all of these things. You're just a silly, misguided. You don't know what's best for you. That's the infantilizing part. But it's even more insidious because of things like marital rape that I was talking about, where even, let's say, those women that would vote for Trump, because I don't want to contribute to the infantilizing on this other side of like trying to tell women that might be conservative, you're misguided, honey, you're this, that. Listen, they might have all the information and still want that life. I don't understand it and I don't agree with it. I'm not going to talk down though. But what I will say is it is absurd to me. It is absurd to me. And I will say that full chest. It's absurd to me when things like marital rape still have legal loopholes and you're voting against your own interest as a marginalized group, because even for the states that don't have this legal loophole for marital rape, there's still a lot of leniency, little too much. In California, there's no mandatory prison sentence. In Virginia, judges can set aside a prison sentence for counseling, so you wouldn't ever actually have to serve any time. And in South Carolina, a spouse cannot be held criminally liable unless it was extremely violent. In South Carolina, a spouse who rapes their partner is not held criminally liable unless the attack involved extreme violence, a weapon, or the threat of a weapon. The state will also not prosecute if the victim doesn't report the assault within 30 days, and a convicted marital rapist can't serve more than 10 years in prison. What? What? In 2017, the same year Jenny Thiessen found out that her husband was giving her sleeping pills and recording her, and another woman in Canada, her husband was acquitted of sexually assaulting her even though he had done it while she was unconscious several different times. But they were like, well, what constitutes consent? He didn't know. I'm so tired. There's also that case in France. As recent as this year, Gisèle Pelicot. This case is, it's all wild. But her husband got gratification from watching other men have sex with her, so he would drug her and allow so many men that the trial right now, at least at the time of this article, it's her husband and 50 other men are accused of assaulting this woman in their town. Imagine living in that town. All of these people are like, wow, is this person on the tape? I was with somebody that knowingly was willing to sleep with a drugged, unconscious woman. And she could have done this anonymously, but she wanted to take the shame out of her and put it on these men because she didn't do anything wrong. It was her husband and these men's is. Even if there was, and this is a side tangent, even if there was, because I've talked to a lot of sex workers and I'm fascinated by sex work and I do sex work adjacent things. So, but even if there was a place where somebody could go to pay for this sort of service, you like to sleep with people when they seem unconscious, right? People are like, not to kink shame. And some people are like, you should kink shame. I want to be a therapist of some kind. So I really want to not judge, and that's part of it. You got to be able to not judge. However, if people there should be a place for people that want to sleep with people that are slightly unconscious or whatever to do that, right? But for some of these people, that's not what it's about. It's not just about that. Because if it was, you could go pay for that. You could pay for someone to pretend to be unconscious, agree to certain terms, and both of you are consenting adults in that room doing that thing. It might not be for everybody, but hey. But unfortunately, for some of y'all, that's not what you want. You like that somebody is actually unconscious. You want the reality of that. You want the reality of taking advantage of somebody else's body. You don't want a consent conversation prior to. No, you want to be able to take advantage of somebody, to use and abuse them for whatever reasons. And so when you go around saying shit like your body, my choice, what are you saying really? Because in the year of our Lord 2024, Gisèle is in a courtroom right now, testifying openly about 51, probably more men over the span of years that were willing to assault her while she was drugged and while her husband watched. When you're saying your body, my choice, what are you saying to someone like Jenny Thiessen, who was getting a divorce and then found all these videos of her husband and her unconscious? When you say your body, my choice, would the words sound the same if Diddy was saying it to you? Because a lot of y'all seemingly understood the man versus bear thing when it was man versus Diddy. But you don't see how you could maybe be like that. If gay men start saying your body, my choice, is it still going to be a funny little cute joke? Since all y'all are so precious about your little balloon knots back there, y'all are so terrified of those things, of being penetrated, horrified at the idea of being a bitch, but you respect women. How do the two relate? It's like that. This is a side tangent. You know what? Let me just get to the extended cut. I'm gonna do my closing remarks and then I'll get to the extended cut because either way, I am frightened for our future. I'm going to be honest. I am not just, being a woman, being femme, whatever, but I'm frightened for people's humanity. Like, where do you get off treating people like they are not human fucking beings? At the bare fucking minimum, at the end of the day, the black ass bottom line. I know there are probably some people right now typing furiously about my lack of humanity because of how I look and blah, 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 blah. There ain't shit you could say to me that I ain't heard, bitch. And that's not an invitation to try. Okay, I'm sensitive. Stop. But also, I always on my main channel go back to this conversation about our universe of obligation. Who do we owe shit? Whose grievances are we meant to make amends to? This is Helen Fine's concept, but whose grievances do we owe amends? Who is seen as somebody worthy of being in our universe of obligation, care, empathy, compassion? How do we expand that for ourselves? If you don't want to, then this video is not going to reach you and it's not going to help you. So I don't know what to say. But if you do, why not ask yourself those questions? How do you consider others in the world? How do you consider yourself? And how much care and consideration do you give yourself and others in the world? My favorite thing that I think I saw in a video of like some girl saying, treat me like God handed me to you personally. I'm not religious, right? But the weight of that word, God, it means something to people. And if you thought more and more about treating people like God handed them to you personally. And I say this as somebody who is not religious, but I have a very religious dad. I have a very religious family, but a very religious dad. Like, I've talked about this on my main channel. He is super, super, super duper religious. He's memorized the Quran a few times. He don't miss a prayer for nothing. He fasts during the week. My dad is one of the most pious people I've ever met. And he is also one of the most compassionate and progressive as he's aged. He wasn't always this way. As he's gotten older, he's become more progressive, more considerate, more caring of difference, more accepting of difference, more understanding of the fact that he doesn't have a heaven or hell to put anyone into, and he knows his religion and his beliefs and his things. And he understands fundamentally that those religions, beliefs, and things are rooted in a core of compassion and consideration and care for your fellow human being. I don't know. That might just always be a difference of opinion. But either way, let me know your thoughts below. Girl, I think I'm posting 2 videos this week. Girl, anyway, for the patrons, stick around because I'm going to talk about that counter thing. You know, the joke where the girls are sitting their men on the counter and how men are like, some of the men are reacting really like violently weird to it. Like, oh, I'm not a bitch. Like, anyway, we'll talk about it. For the rest of y'all, thanks for watching. Like, I don't know, girl. I don't know. Godspeed. Like, girl, call me back. Bye.